Close your eyes for a second. Imagine a reality where humanity never existed. No temples, no sacred texts, no observers to look up at the night sky. If all of that were erased, would a creator still be out there? And if something did create all this, we immediately run into a paradox. If every single thing in existence requires a maker, then who or what made the maker? Our ancestors didn't linger on that paradox. When they faced the terrifying mechanics of nature, a sudden lightning storm, a severe drought, or the finality of death, they bypassed the complexity by assigning specific deities to control those events. Those ancient myths provided a necessary comfort. They gave humanity a working explanation for how the world operated. But they skipped the much harder question: why is there a world to begin with? Modern cosmology gives us a very precise timeline. About 13.8 billion years ago, all matter and energy burst outward from a hyperdense, incredibly hot state. We can track that expansion down to the microsecond. We can measure the cooling plasma and the formation of the first atoms. What we cannot measure is where that initial speck of matter actually came from. Astrophysics successfully maps the physical history of space. But when we ask what struck the match to ignite that timeline, the equations break down, leaving us completely dependent on philosophy. Everything we observe in reality follows a strict rule of cause and effect. Every action is pushed forward by a previous action. If you trace it all backward, logic suggests this chain cannot go on infinitely. At some point, something had to make the first move. Philosophers call this the necessary being, an entity that stands entirely on its own, requires no prior cause to exist, and operates outside the boundaries of physics. But critics point out a massive contradiction in this logic. We are using the strict laws of cause and effect to prove the existence of an entity, only to immediately decide those laws don't apply to it. Postulating a prime mover doesn't resolve the mystery of existence. It merely takes the ultimate cause and pushes it one step further out of human reach. Let's leave the birth of the universe aside and look at the structure of the universe we actually live in. Reality is governed by fundamental forces, like gravity and electromagnetism, that are balanced on a razor-thin threshold. If you altered these mathematical constants by a fraction of a percent, stars wouldn't form, carbon wouldn't bond, and life could never exist. To some observers, this precision implies a deliberate architectural blueprint. To others, these constants are simply rigid natural laws, with no underlying intent. A universe with different settings would just be entirely lifeless. The mathematical harmony of the cosmos certainly gives the illusion of intelligent design, but it cannot serve as definitive empirical proof of a supernatural creator. If looking out into the cosmos doesn't yield a final answer, we have to plunge inward, down into the biology of the observer. Modern neuroscience is highly effective at mapping the human machine. We can track the exact electrical and chemical impulses required to make a heartbeat and muscles move. Yet we hit a biological wall known as the heart problem of consciousness. Science can explain the mechanics of a nervous system, but it cannot explain how physical matter generates the subjective experience of being you, why an arrangement of atoms actually feels pain or perceives beauty. Human consciousness remains the ultimate biological frontier. It is entirely ambiguous whether our self-awareness is an advanced evolutionary illusion or a direct link to a deeper spiritual reality. We have spent centuries pointing advanced telescopes at the edge of the universe and powerful microscopes into the center of the brain. Through all of it, we have found zero definitive proof for a creator and zero definitive proof against one. Our inability to find an answer might just be a biological limitation. We are attempting to comprehend an infinite, boundless reality using the restricted hardware of human cognition. The statement, "we don't know," represents the most honest philosophical conclusion humanity can currently achieve. This search leads back to the observer. The mystery resides within the very mind asking the question. Whether reality is a cold cosmic coincidence or a design beyond our scale, the universe evolved a way to look back at itself and wonder.